This video I'm going to talk about the #1 sign that men miss when their wife is about to leave them. In fact, it is a very subtle sign. In fact, I missed this one too. Back when I was married previously, and my ex-wife, I remember she demonstrated this and I just missed it. I thought everything was great. I thought everything was awesome. And so when I heard, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, Moab, the mother of all bombs, I was not fucking prepared at all. And so in this video, we're going to talk about what this is, what you can do to get ahead of it and prevent this from happening to you in the future. My name is Ed Baxter, and I help guys in betrayal situations. I've coached thousands of men, tens of thousands of men who come through my doors in one form or another. I've had over 3,000 guys come through the Betrayed to Badass program. And that's what we do. We'll get you to that place where you make the right decision for you and your children. I'm going to go right to the chase. She just stops complaining. She stops nagging you. She stops trying to get you to do things. She stops trying to talk to you about things. She's just good. She's happy. And you're like, holy shit, our relationship got so much better. She's not nagging me anymore. She's not asking me to do stuff. And in fact, I'm doing more around the house stuff just because she's leaving me alone. And she doesn't really seem to care that I'm doing all this stuff, but I don't really care because she's not nagging me anymore. Everything's good. And this had happened to me for about 2 weeks before, maybe even a month or so before I figured out what was going on. In fact, I actually caught my ex-wife. She admitted to having an emotional affair before it turned into a physical affair, and I realized that this was happening beforehand, like this dynamic had shifted. And so the reason that it changed is because she just doesn't care anymore. She's not trying to fight for the relationship. She's not trying to make peace with you. She's not trying to change the dynamic. She's not trying to fix you or change you or whatever it happens to be that she's trying to do in a relationship. And so she just gives up. And usually when this happens, she's already starting her exit strategy. And so a woman, when she breaks up with her man or even her boyfriend, she's going to devise an exit strategy. And typically the first part of the exit strategy is, I'm going to pick fights with him so he hates me. You're like, well, why would she do that? It's very simple. So you break up with her first. If she can make you hate her and then you break up with her, problem solved. She didn't have to break up with you anymore. And in fact, it'll be your decision. And so she's manipulating this game to make it your decision to break up with her, and then she can go and be off with whoever it is she wants and be scot-free and not have to have any guilt or shame around it, even though we're just ignoring the fact that she manipulated you into not liking her, and that's a massively dishonest move. And she could have just openly said what was happening, and you probably could leave it alone, and you could fix it. So why does she just check out? Usually it's a chronic place where she feels that she's not being heard or understood. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's true, but she feels this to be the case. So in other words, there's a loss in the feedback loop there. You might understand her or whatever, but she's not hearing it back the other direction. Or what ends up happening, she tries to tell you something that's happening, and instead of like really listening to her and leaning in and trying to figure out what the emotional state is underneath it all, what you end up doing is you start being defensive. You start trying to correct the record. You start trying to tell her how you're feeling, or you try to explain yourself all the time. And the problem is if you've ever been on the other end of somebody explaining themselves all the time to you and getting defensive, it is maddening. And so it feels like you're talking to a brick wall because all they want to do is tell you how they feel and all the ways that they did things. They're not really interested in the solution. And so when your wife comes at you and she starts telling you about a situation and you keep getting defensive and you're not like stopping and listening and really trying to take it in and asking questions why and digging down to the root of it, why that matters with her, and then she sees you as just brushing it all off. And at some point she'll just stop because she'll say, well, what's the point? He never listens to me anyway. What's the point? I can never talk to him. What's the point? I don't feel safe expressing what I need to express. Obviously, she wouldn't if you keep getting defensive and you're not really interested in what she has to say, and you're always trying to correct the record, always trying to say, hey, it's not this way at all. It's not this way at all. It's not whatever. It's like talking to a brick wall. And so in this space, she's starting to envision a life without you. Again, she's going to start working on her exit strategy. And her exit strategy could be any number of things. It's beyond the purview of this video, but this is what she'll do. The exit strategies can sometimes be months or even years in advance before she actually executes it. If she's married to you and you have children with you, she's going to start planning this out a very long time in the future. If she has a lover and she wants to get with this guy, she's going to make it go way faster because she wants to get this other guy. If that guy's single and he's ready to be with her, she's going to move it as fast as possible. If the other guy's married, she's going to be like, well, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if the guy's going to leave his wife. And many men do not leave their wives for the side girl. And so what ends up happening, she'll just let this go on forever. 2 or 3 years go down the road, you find out she's having an affair, and you're like, what the fuck was this all about? What's happened? So you're like, how did that change? So the guy will come into the Soul Seducer program, he's like, my wife's cheating on me, how do I fix this? And I say, well, what happened to begin with? Where did things go wrong? And I'll say, okay, when did the things first start changing? He's like, what do you mean? When did you start having a disconnect? Okay, and then what happened right before that? And then we'll get to the root of where the actual shift occurred. And usually it's at the end of this, and this situation has happened then where she just decided there was this calm before the storm. And so if you start noticing this calm before the storm, you have to hit it head on. Normally it's too late, but if you can hit it head on right here in the space, you might be able to pull her back. Usually when a woman leaves a man or she asks for divorce or she cheats on him, it's usually beyond repair. Not because the guy can't change. It's not because the guy can't be a different guy. It's not because the guy can't remedy his ways or be different. It's because she has given up completely. Not only has she given up completely, she's completely hardened herself into anything he could do to potentially save it. In other words, he could do anything at all. He could save Jesus down from the cross and she'll be like, yeah, but he had an ulterior motive. He didn't do it for the right reasons. Just like Mr. Beast in the wells. Well, he didn't do those wells for the good people, for those people. He had an ulterior motive. And it doesn't matter what you say or what you do. She's just going to harden herself because she wants to hold her position that you are not the guy for her, and that her leaving you or her cheating on you or her insert the blank bad thing that she did to you is fully justified. If she can keep holding on to that, then she doesn't ever have to open up and give you a second chance. And oftentimes a woman will do this just to protect herself. She hardens herself to her own ego because she's like, well, he deserves it anyway. And so until she decides to drop that armor and actually try to see the kind person underneath instead of who she's villainized you to be, then you will never be able to save the relationship. And the thing is that most guys, when they get to this place, they're like, what's the magic words that I can use to try to prevent her from doing this or try to open her up from this? And the problem is you usually cannot. And it has nothing to do with you and how your approach is. Oftentimes there's nothing anybody can do to open her up because this is what she's using in order to keep the delusion that you're a terrible person, to keep you away from the kids or try to take as much money as she can in court so that she can come out ahead. And so women often in this situation come off as narcissistic, even though they normally are not. The situation is now pulling this out of her because it's a self-protection mechanism. And so even though she gets quiet on you, even though she starts giving you a hard time, even though she starts doing this number one sign, and then you start leaning in and say, hey, what's going on, and open up, she oftentimes will not open up to you, and it's already too late. Now you can try to demonstrate over a period of time that you were different. She could get done with her lover, and then she would come back to you and see what she could potentially miss. And you might be different at this point, and she might want to re-engage with you. But the 9 times out of 10, actually 99 times out of 100 of the guys who've come through the Soul Seducer program, when they get to that point where their wife wants to try to re-engage with them, he has grown so massively, he doesn't want her anymore. He looks at himself and his own value and says, anybody that could cheat on me this way, anybody who could stonewall me in this way, anybody who can manipulate me in this way does not deserve my time and attention. I'm going to be with a woman who loves me, cares about me. It would never allow the situation to get this way because I'm a good guy. I care a lot about the women in my life. I care a lot about my children. I'm not going to put my family at risk because somebody thinks the grass is greener on the other side. And that's typically what happens with men who step into their power. And so if you're able to open her up, if you're able to acknowledge this is what's happening to her, and you say, hey, I noticed that you've been distanced lately. I noticed that you've been quiet. So what's going on with you? And you're able to open her up, then you can make this shift in a relationship. Now she can feel seen. Now she can feel heard. And then the more she feels heard and understood in this situation, the more she'll start to open up more and more to you, and you'll be able to save the relationship. But the problem is most guys who get to this place are doing just enough because he doesn't want her to leave him. So he's coming from this people-pleasing place. He's coming from this place of fear and scarcity. He's not coming from a place of openness and strength. So when she finally starts to open up, he gets defensive. He starts to talk back to her on a lot of these things. He doesn't ask more questions why. He gets emotionally reactive. And then she shuts back down again and says, yeah, I'm still dealing with a kid. Still dealing with a guy who can't control his emotions. I'm still dealing with a guy who I have to manage his emotions. I have to worry about what I say and how I am so that he doesn't lose his shit, so he doesn't get all upset and start crying and gets angry. And so then she shuts right back down again, and she goes right back to the place where she was. She says, well, I can't talk to him. He's not a safe place to open up to. And so what ends up happening is the guy keeps going through this cycle. And if you are going through this cycle with your wife, if your wife has decided that she's going to leave you, or she's told you that I love you, but I'm not in love with you, or maybe your wife has even betrayed you, you're trying to figure out what the hell to do. You're trying to either get her back or turn things around in your own life so that you can move on powerfully and maybe find somebody even better. Or maybe what you want to do is you want to just crush it so hard in life that she just regrets ever leaving you. Check out the Soul Seducer program below. It'll show you exactly what you need to do to navigate this divorce, to navigate how to deal with her, how to even win her back, and if she doesn't come back, how to absolutely dominate in the game of dating and relationships so this never ever happens to you again. We've had over 4,000 guys come through this program. It's not a matter if the program works at this point. We have vetted this program out over and over and over again. It's just a matter of, can you apply yourself? Can you step through your fears? Can you actually decide to be the kind of guy that actually wants to be powerful in his life? If you can decide you want to be the guy who wants to be powerful in his life, the Soul Seducer program will absolutely fucking rock your world and you will love it. In fact, we've had thousands of clients, hundreds of video testimonials, and the case studies that are over the moon. So if you'd like to learn more about that program, check it out in the link in the description below or in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video.